So, Deborah, um, we've talked a lot about this, and I am pulling up my list of questions. Um, First question: can you tell us about the history of OLLI at FSU? Like, when did it start, and how has it grown?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for being here, and it's always so wonderful to see shining, lovely faces, especially at this time of day and with this weather. But anyway, let's get started. So, Ollie at FSU is 35 years old. It began not as an Ollie, but as the Academy for Lifelong Learning, and that started in 1991. So let me put a plug in now. Next year is going to be our 35th anniversary of lifelong learning, and we will be doing a lot of promotion for that. When it first started, there were like around 6 to 11 members, and there were classes 3 days a week, I believe. It was very nominal, but everybody took the same classes, and it built up from there. So, and today, of course, we have hundreds of members now. So we'll be getting into that in a bit.
Okay. Um, my thing. Okay. What is the structure of our OLLI, and what makes our OLLI different from other OLLIs?
Okay, so first of all, let me say that there are 124 ollies in the United States. There is at least one in every state, and in our state of Florida, there are 8 of us. So there are 8 ollies around. We are the only one between Jacksonville and Pensacola. There's none in Pensacola. And of course, we have UNF in Jacksonville, and then it goes down the coast and through the center and on the West Coast. Um, so we are structured differently. So there's been a term that is often said, if you've seen one ollie, you've seen one ollie. And that's because there are very few guidelines from the Osher Foundation. Basically, it's that we are attached to a university. That's the first one, or one of them. We have a specific way that we have to advertise our name. So for us, it's OLLI at FSU. We do have a site on the coast, and that is very specific. So that's OLLI at FSU, comma, and we right now we're saying PC 30A, and that's because it was started with a 30A group of people. It's really not that accurate right now. It's really more the Emerald Coast. But that is still working to build membership. Another thing that we do that others may not do is that we structure our academic session as membership plus classes. So that's considered membership plus a la carte. And some ollies do a blanket package. So if you buy a membership package, it may be $600, it may be $400, whatever, could be more. And that means that you have membership plus a certain amount of classes for the year. We work on a first come first serve basis. There are other ollies that work on a lottery system. So it's all different. And the other difference between our ollie and others is that we pay our instructors, and not all ollies do that. Some ollies purely take classes from their members. And sometimes we have a member who is an expert in their field. Of course, probably most everybody who's an OLLI member seems to have an expertise. So sometimes somebody who is a member will say, I'd like to teach a class. And so we do that as well. The other thing that we are structured with our advisory council, and they are all volunteers. And we have advisory councils on this call right now, on this meeting. We have officers. So when I came in, we had a president and we had a vice president. And then soon I realized as we were growing that we really needed more help as far as the leadership team. So now we have the president, which is Debbie, we call her Dr. Debbie, right? um, we have Debbie is the president, Kent Putnam, wave your hand, Kent. Kent is first VP, and Vicky Holly is second VP. And each of the succession, they each have their own duties that are responsibilities that they carry out throughout the year. The first or the third VP, or the second VP, I should say, the third person in line, works on the class host. So in other words, every time we run our class sessions, we need members to help guide other members into class taking role and so forth. And it's a huge job. We bring them in May. The April-May is the switchover, and it's a good time because May, as you know, is a smaller semester or term that we run classes. So it's kind of like it's a lead in, all right, because then when the fall comes, we have over 40 classes. There's a lot, although we don't do class hosts for Zoom sessions right now. So there are more class hosts, and of course they love to know that people will volunteer, when they're in that position. It can be daunting, right? But it always works, and we all help out. And then of course the Kent, in his role is to pull together all the clubs and the chairs, and that in itself is, because we get ready with our catalog and a registration system. It's very important to know who's doing what, the timeline of getting all the information in, so that we can get our catalog out on time, we can get our registration ready in time. There's a lot of moving parts, and so we try to work like 6 months in advance. So often we are in, as staff, we're working in 3 semesters at one time in our head, but you all are only in 1 semester at a time, of course. And then of course the president is the head of the membership, and we have a certain number of meetings each year according to our bylaws, and we kind of keep everything running in that sense. And we all work together. We all support each other, and that's very important. And then of course we have voting members on the advisory council. That's with other committees that we have, like philanthropy. Let's see, I'm trying to think of other
scholarship
committee, so forth, because we do a lot throughout the year. And then we have our members on the advisory council that are the club chairs. And of course, Marie Clovis is our hey Marie, is our activity chairperson, and she gets lots of help, which is needed. And Marie has greatly increased the number of activities over the year. And then, we have clubs. So basically, as far as the club chairs, probably more falls on Kent's shoulders than, Marie. Marie, I don't think you take into account the club chairs, although we all work together as a team. So that's pretty much it.
Okay. Does FSU contribute to our group?
Yes, they do. Of course, when I mentioned that the Osher Foundation, in order for them to make us part of the OLLI network, we had to be a part of the university. So what the university does is they give us in-kind space. So we don't have to, pay for our office and classroom space. And when we go outside the university, like if we use the Turnbull, the Alumni Center, even the Challenger, places like that, we pay per sponsorship rate. So we don't pay as much as we would be if we were an outside organization wanting to use space here. So that's very important. So, and not only that, the university gives us all kinds of help as far as communications, putting out our newsletter, not our newsletter, but our in the beginning, our press releases, they let everybody know. When we do a call for proposals or request for proposal, we call it, I'll send it to our provost and she will send it out to every single department in every single college, not only here, but on the coast. So that's very helpful. We have foundation help, to hold the money for all the different funds that we have. And so we all work as a unit. And so FSU does contribute greatly. They don't contribute financially, but they contribute in all other ways.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about the scholarships that we give both to our members and to FSU students?
Okay, absolutely. So back in probably around 2000, I'm trying to think, 2012, no, even further back than that, probably about 2010, 9 and 10, there was an effort to have members become, to give money as donors, a philanthropy approach. And it was started in the form of, well, let's give back to the university through supporting traditional students. And the reason why that came up was because at that time, the professors that we were using, they had grad students and they would often say, it would be really good if we have these students who are awesome and we wanted to support the instructors that we were using in a sense, right? So we started running a scholarship program and pretty much it would be maybe 2 scholarships a year. We've grown a lot and we've had an endowment support that was put forth as a donation by Ramona Bowman. And so now we have a scholarship through Ramona's endowment. And we have 3 other scholarships that we also give to students. And one of them is a student that is within our college. And one thing I didn't mention in our structure is that we have classes throughout the community, right? But we have classes on campus and we have them in the Pepper Center. Well, the Pepper Center, or the Pepper Institute rather, is tucked into the Claude Pepper Center. The Claude Pepper Center is in under the College of Social Science and Public Policy. So we're layered, but that is our college. And so we give back, we always use the College of Social Science and Public Policy as one of our scholarship support. And I'm trying to think what else I can say about that.
There's one for military also, right?
Right, we do one for the military, military on campus. And then what we do is the scholarship committee gets together every year and they decide, well, who should we choose now? Which college would we like to support? Who supports us, really, right? So we have instructors from the College of Medicine and from the College of Nursing and from the School of Music and from the Film School. So basically, they rotate and decide, well, who would we want to choose this year? And so that's how our scholarship program has been working. And as you know, or may not know, but one of the funds that we have is called the OLLI at FSU Scholarship Fund. And every other year when we run the Great Give, we run it to increase the money that's in that scholarship fund. And then the other thing that we do is our OLLI is we do have financial scholarships for our own OLLI members. And so, that's something that if you know people who maybe feel like they don't have the money to take, a class here, membership in classes, you can always let them know. And it's really a phone call to me. Mm-hmm. And then we talk about, what's available and what's possible. So that's always a good thing for us as well.
Okay, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the clubs and the activities that we offer.
Okay, well, I think we have 11 clubs right now. We have, and probably all of you know this, we have 2 book clubs. We have a Spanish club, a French club. We have a lunch discussion roundtable group that started about a year or so ago. We have a men's group. What is new last semester, I believe, was we started Mingle with OLLI. So that's on a Tuesday. And then we have Wednesdays with OLLI, which is on a Wednesday. And right now they're rotating, but they may become weekly events, not sure. We have a new photography club, which really started last semester, but it's on hiatus right now, and hopefully we can resume that in the fall. We have a very active travel club. We have, as Marie mentioned earlier, we have 3 divisions. I guess we'll save the walking club. So that's what we have. Right. Oh, and we have a brand new club, bowling. What is that, Marie? Bowling? I see 2
One
fingers.
more. Pickleball starts in the fall.
Oh, pickleball is starting. That's right. So bowling and pickleball. Bowling is active right now. People are going on Fridays. And then, of course, the pickleball. And how many of you are pickleball players? Raise your hand. All right. So, and pickleball. So I think that's it for now. But when people have an idea for a club, we love that. We just need a person to champion it. And then when they say, they can take it under their wings, and they'll find out the best day and give information to us for the where they're going to meet, how often they're going to meet, and so forth. And we can put that information into the catalog. So that's it.
And I think it's important too to say that the clubs don't charge anything.
Correct.
But it's a great way to get out of the house and do things with people of your own age. If if you don't have someone to go with, or you just don't want to go bowling by yourself, you can just join the bowling club, or whatever we do.
It really is a great way to meet people too, and some people, like you say, Vicki, they don't want to go bowling by themselves, or play pickleball. They want to go with people, and so these clubs are wonderful, very helpful.
And then Marie's activities are also a great way to get out of the house, and go do things around town that you might not even know are there, and to do it with friends.
Mm-hmm. I was talking to somebody the other day who has lived in Tallahassee her entire life, where she's young. She's 22. She only now realized that we have Mission San Luis, which is on the west side of town, right? And we have had activities over there. So as you say, it brings up places where people don't even know exist here in Tallahassee. So, it's a great way to explore.
I agree. Okay, another switch gears. Can you talk about how OLLI is different from the senior center?
OLLI and the senior center complement one another. We basically have always been more of an academic organization or programming with our programming, and the senior center does some lifelong learning as well, but there's crossover, of course. And so, I feel like we complement one another. There certainly are a lot of seniors in Tallahassee and even the outskirts. And some people prefer not to be connected with the university. I think, one thing that we try to get out there is that when we advertise is that you don't have to have a degree. You don't have to have had gone to college in order to be a part of OLLI because we're, connected with the university. But some people would prefer not that. And then, of course, we know that there are parking issues when you come to campus. And people don't even want to come to campus. That kind of, I don't know, they just prefer not to. And other people love coming to campus. But then we also have classes around town, at other senior retirement communities, places for people to live. So we try to do as many community be in community places as we can.
I know I've heard you say before that we do sponsor the senior center.
We do. Every year during their lifelong learning, which is coming up, they have L3X coming up, and they have great one day. They pretty much concentrate on one day classes or activities throughout the month of September, and we have sponsored them, I think, since I've been here, and I've been here for 13 years. So I'm not quite sure when we started, but yeah, it's very important that we, I feel like we want to show that we are part of what they do, and it's very important they reach seniors who would prefer not to be involved at the university. And so, I mean, this is our mission, right? Our mission is to reach out to people of a certain age, although you really don't have to be 50. Some people go, well, I'm not old enough yet. But we actually have people who are younger than 50, and we have people who are still working, some working full-time, some work part-time. So, it's all good. And I think it's important that collaboration is just a good way to be in a community that we love. That's the way I feel about it.
I agree. I think learning is so important, and you're never too old to learn, even though sometimes we do it differently once we get older. I learned that in one of our classes. And I'm so glad that we have so many opportunities in Tallahassee to do just that. Okay, so I would like to open it up for questions now. So if you have a question, go ahead, Deborah.
I was going to say there's one thing that we had talked about prior when we were talking about what questions do people have, and I didn't want to just come on today and just start telling you everything that I know, because some of it may not be important. So I asked Vicki if she would come up with questions, talk to other people. What is it that you want to know? Which, if we haven't covered, we would like you to let us know in this next segment. But one thing we did talk about was, how do we schedule classes? And some people are curious about that. So 3 times a year, we have a curriculum committee, which we hadn't mentioned before. We have a curriculum committee, and it includes all of those leaders, executive leaders. So the president, first VP, second VP, and then we have Stephanie and I. Stephanie, raise your hand. Stephanie is the program coordinator. She's on it. I'm on it. The chairs are Vicki and Harriet Wass, and Harriet pretty much doing the classes, and Vicki pretty much over the lecture series. So we all work together. The call for proposals, or we call RFP, request for proposals, goes out 3 times a year. The professors from all 3 of our educational institutions here in Tallahassee receive them. Everybody who's ever been on our list, who've taught a class, we send it out. They have a certain amount of time to complete an online proposal link. And then when we get together in our committee meeting, we review all of those proposals and we decide together based on evaluations that are taken at the end of class, as well as other factors. How many classes can we have in history and science and writing? We try to make it as well-rounded as possible. So they're selected. Once those professors are selected, then we reach out to them. We say, your class has been selected, and these are the days and times that we have for you to pick. Please give us 3 of your best days and time. They have a certain amount of time to send that back to us. Then Stephanie and I will be scheduling them according to where they're teaching, whether it's at Westminster, at Red Hills, at Allegro, or wherever. Okay, and the coast, that they also are scheduled on the coast as well. We have 2 staff down there. And then, of course, once they send that back, I said we schedule them. And then from there, then we have to collect other information like, what is the true title of your class? Please send us a description. What materials are needed? So it's very complex in that sense. And then we can put it all together. We also, when we're getting ready to begin the semester, we ask every professor to go to their place of teaching and do the AV. Some people wonder, do they ever have to do anything? Well, yes, they're supposed to go and check it out in advance. They usually do. And then we have support personnel at each of these places. So it's, if you want to know any other questions about that, please let me know.
I'm sorry, I forgot that question. But along those same lines, can we talk a little bit about the showcase and what's involved with that?
Yes. So twice a year we do the showcase, and it's pretty much been in the same format for years, where all the club chairs and activity, the activity chair will come and put up a table to display whatever information they would want people to know when they come to the showcase. So that's held, and we hold it in the Turnbull usually. So all the clubs and activity and everything like that is held in the atrium. We do a luncheon for the professors and give them information that they may need. And then the next segment is the actual program in the auditorium. And now, since we have online classes as well, we have Zoom classes, we do a presentation online with the Zoom instructors. I record that, and then we send it over to the showcase personnel, and then they are now just viewing that for people can come in and see what are the Zoom classes as well, so that we have as much of a big picture as possible. And it's a lot of coordination. So we have, again, our team leaders in place. We do a walkthrough in advance, make sure we have all the details, dot the I's, cross the T's, so that everything goes off as smoothly as possible. However, there's always a glitch. Like one year we were all set to go and we walked in that day and there was a big flood in the parking garage, and then the cars couldn't park. So anyway, that's the nature of putting on events.
I know when I get the catalog, I read through it, and then it's when I go to the showcase is where I really decide, I mark the catalog with what I'm interested in, and then I go to the showcase and I really decide which classes I want to take. because the instructors give such better descriptions of them when they're put on the spot, I guess.
And they compete with one another. It's often quite amusing. And but some people prefer certain personalities, right? So or maybe an instructor has an accent. We do try to make sure that they can be well understood. But some people would rather not. So it's all according to who people like. And then of course we have professors who we would say it doesn't matter what they could teach. They could teach about a chair, and people would sign up because they have their followers.
Okay. Do we have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself if you have one.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Deborah, how's it going with the FSU acquiring the theater next to the Governor's Mall as a film school? If that happens, we might be able to use that building. How's that going?
Right. So, we have a strategic plan in place, and the strategic plan members are pretty much those who are in the advisory council. And I'm not sure, did we cover that? So basically we had decided, that we wanted to grow our membership. That is a very important one. So we were at 1,200 members between here and the coast. Prior to COVID. COVID came, and everybody across the country, everybody, pretty much lost a lot of membership. We didn't do too badly. We were around maybe 650, 700. But we were able to keep right on going. But we're at the point now where 5 years, I guess, 4 years, depending how you look at it, past COVID. And we want to, get our message out. Why are we important, right? Successful longevity. So growing membership is important. The second thing that we had decided was we wanted more robust programming, more classroom space. And one of the things was, and which is what Bruce is talking about, was like a OLLI lounge somewhere. So I did contact the film school, of course, if you haven't heard, has purchased Governor's Mall, not Governor's Mall, I'm sorry, the Regency complex, Regency movie complex. But I understand it's going to be at least a couple of years in that being something that they're able to really fully use. So I have put a call into the dean, and we haven't yet talked about any logistics or things like that. But that's one thing that we talked about. And then we also thought, well, maybe there's some other place around town. Maybe somebody knows some place that we may be able to rent that has good parking. We thought about the Civic Center because FSU does own that. And but parking's great, but accessibility is not so great, right? So that's kind of not. So we're looking, Bruce, is the answer. And then since we're talking about strategic plan, I will say the third leg of that was fundraising to make this all happen. So as we increase programming, increase places where we're at, and what we're doing, the programs that we're doing, we need money to support that. And I don't want to fail to mention the Distinguished Lecture Series that we're starting. And Carol Bewley is heading that up. And we are bringing Owen Devlin over next February. We're already in the plans. And that's going to be a yearly thing. It's going to be phenomenal. We're flying him over. He's going to do a week-long session. We'll have a couple of receptions. We'll have community involved. And, that'll be great, but you'll hear more about it. So those of you who are on this call are getting to know some things in advance. Thanks for your question, Bruce. Probably
have a-
not what you wanted to hear, but
Well,
it's in the making somehow, someday.
well, the facility I think is great. The parking is good.
Yeah.
And I think now you said strategically located. It's right kind of in the center of town.
Mhm.
Is that? And of
That's
course, I
good.
would love it because I only live a mile from there. That's just my personal
Yeah. No, it's good.
bias.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're hoping that's something that we want to work on, So yeah.
Any more
Question.
questions or comments?
Yes, I have one.
Okay, Ken.
I can't.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
If I did I understand you correctly in saying that the money we are able to obtain, get the donations for the Great Give, it goes to the scholarships every other year?
Correct.
And I know I get a lot of questions about that because I am always, when I class host, I talk it up, What happens to the other years? What happens to the money that we collect in the other years? I want
So,
to make sure I give people the right information.
right. So alternating years, then it goes into OLLI and FSU fund, which is general operating fund.
Okay.
So think about all the things that we need to make it happen. So, as a part of so we're in the Pepper Center, right? Pepper Institute. So when we upgrade AV, furniture, flooring, things like that, things that, are part of functioning, of course, money doesn't grow on trees, right? We need to pull it from somewhere. So those are part of general operating funds. Helping with programs that we add periodically throughout the year. For example, we're going to be doing this Distinguished Professor Series.
Right.
That's going to be something new. Our scholarships that we give to regular seniors, senior age or not age, but adults who are lifelong learners. I mean, these are all things that go into the pot, just as examples. And, if you want more information about that, let me know and we will talk, because I want you to be able to clearly be able to explain what it is that we do with the money, especially whenever you ask people for money, you have to be able to tell them where the money's going. And it's very important that we're very careful that when money is given for a special directive, that it is only for that. We're very clear with the donors.
That really answers my question. Thanks,
Okay. You're welcome. Other questions? Carol Hall, I see you thinking.
So Deborah, how do you know I'm thinking? I didn't know the device did that.
Of course you're thinking.
Well, I do have a suggestion. Since increasing the membership is important, I don't know if it's possible to plant catalogs in various places, like places that have waiting rooms, or if it's more affordable, maybe some cheaper leaflet. But catalogs would be great. People sitting around in a waiting room, often I've seen, don't bring things to read. And if you have extra leaflets, I go to the senior center frequently, collaborate with them. Of course, they make their facilities and options more affordable to people, which is, a good option for people on lower incomes. But if there's a big wall full of leaflets, and if there are any leaflets, I can drop them off there.
I love your suggestion, and that's one of the things we've been talking about. We're ordering a lot of catalogs because we would love to have people take them and put them in their doctor's office, their dentist, anywhere. And if any of you would like to do that, would like some to bring elsewhere, please let us know. Send an email to me and Stephanie. Marie, you raise your hand. Yeah, we would love that, because you're right, Carol. That is a great way to advertise. People are sitting around and, they don't always bring things to read. So yes, thank you. And as far as affordability, we're not that far off really from what the senior center does, but we advertise differently. We are a bit more expensive, but not by that much. Because we don't advertise by the class, but we are a little bit more. That's why we do offer scholarships as well for people who can't afford it. But thank you very much, Carol. Yes, so I'm going to write your name down and give you some of those catalogs. And also, by the way, because we are part of the L3X, I believe Debbie Justice Obley, our president, she is going to be manning a table over there, and and that's coming up. And what we do is we do bring catalogs, so hopefully we have them in time. But if not, we have some other things. We have some swag, and we have some leaflets that we're trying to change up a little bit, add more recent information to them, but we do have them. And I think, anything would help. Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then Betsy.
I saw Betsy McKnight had a question. Unmute yourself, Betsy. Betsy. Okay.
This is totally unrelated. Just curious, who is Osher?
Oh, that's a great question. So where did we get our name from? Bernard Osher he is now, I think, like 97 years old. He is the creator, founder of this Spend Down Foundation. He is a self-made man, started out in Maine, and he was part of a financial group, and then he then moved from Maine to San Francisco, where he began in like a furniture auction house. I mean, you can actually Google him. He's an amazing man. He's always come. Every year he comes to or every 18 months, he comes to the National Osher Foundation convention, speaks at it. I mean, this man is so amazing. He is the epitome of lifelong learners. He started to learn the piano in his 80s. Wow. He actually, what was it? I think it was 88 or something when he went surfing for the first time in Hawaii. And there's actually a YouTube video of him doing this. But he always felt it was so important for people to continue learning, to get out socially. So the mind, keeping your mind alert, socially being part of a group, being physically active. And so those are the tenets of his foundation. And not only does he have these 124 OLLIs that he created around the country, but he also gives to medical programs, medical and educational programs to non-traditional students in some universities. He's a very amazing man, and he's just wonderful. Some of you, I'm trying to think who might have met him. Debbie and I had a picture with him. He loves to take selfies with people when we're at the convention. And I can remember going way back. I remember Cindy Foster and we had a picture with him, and every 18 months. So it's really quite a joy. But that's the name. That's why we are called the Osher Foundation.
So where was the first chapter or group or whatever?
The first one was in Maine.
Maine.
At the University of Maine, which is, somebody help me, what's that name of that? It's on the tip
Is it in Bangor?
No, not Bangor. It's in southern Maine. Anyway, Portland. Thank you. Yeah. Who was that? 1703. ... Yeah, Portland, Maine. And Yeah, in fact, the national, what we'd call National Resource Center, started in Maine, and we had a wonderful woman who was the executive director of that. Her name was Kali, and she retired. And once she retired, then because the Bernard Osher Foundation has been centered in San Francisco, they brought along. A new new executive director who's now located, and the resource center is located in Chicago and in Northwestern University. So it's, moving
Okay.
along. And it's a spend down. And by the way, it's a spend down foundation. So he wasn't keeping any of this money for he and his family. It's amazing.
Okay, thanks.
May
And
I ask 2 questions, please?
Sure.
Hi, Ann.
Hi, Deborah. Who were the originators? I think I know a couple of them, and that was back in 1991. And my second question is, tell us about your conferences. You said it's what, every 2 years? Those are fantastic meetings, and all you learn from them. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Ann, for the questions. So back in 1991, the lifelong learning program started in the continuing education building. Those of you who have been around for a while, do you remember like a little brown building down there in the center of town? Well, that was the continuing ed building, and Susan Lampman was actually not the very first person who encouraged this. And she lives at Westminster Oaks. I'm trying to think who might be on.
Jolly is one of them, right?
Who?
Judy Jolly.
Oh, okay. Judy Jolly was one of the first presidents. Right. So as far as administratively putting it together, let's say Susan Lampman was really behind this lifelong learning, and she was really bringing it along when it was the academy. When she was basically transferred to teach out of the to be a part of the college COSSPP in the Pepper Institute, she asked if she could bring the lifelong learning component over. And so the university said yes. And so it continued. And then in 2008, she had applied for the endowment to establish us as an OSHER, as OLLI at FSU. So in 2008 is when the name changed. So Susan was the first director. We've had several presidents, and Judy Jolly, who I believe is still over at Westminster Oaks. She was one of the first presidents. We have a list of them. We have it on a plaque in the wall outside the Broad Auditorium. We also have it in our website. And let's see. So that answers that question, I think. And then as far as
the conferences,
right? So every 18 months, the Osher Foundation puts on a conference, which is now turned over because the Spend Down Foundation is actually spent down. And so it's now turned over to the National Resource Center, NRC, and every 18 months. And it's a fabulous opportunity for directors and for a volunteer. So the president usually comes with me, and we network, right? And we find out what other people are doing in all areas. And every year, so Ann, you mentioned a yearly one, that's the Southern Regional Conference that's held. And actually that started, I believe, out of Maine under Rhodes Scholar, very beginning. And there was a conference, but anyway, it got picked up, and it would circulate among the lifelong learning division. So remember, the Southern Regional Conference is not just OLLI organizations, but it's also every lifelong learning organization. So they mirror really what happens at the national conference. You can learn about fundraising, about volunteers, about curriculum. When hybrid learning was a big thing, we all were tuned into what was going on there. In 2012, so I came in 2011, and in 2012, USF, FSU, and UNF, with the three of us, put together the Southern Regional Conference Center then, and we held it in Jacksonville because they had a great auditorium in place and conference center all in one there with their own parking. And so we held that. So I'm glad that it went away during COVID, of course, but I'm glad it's back. It's going well. We recently had 6 people go to the conference.
7.
Seven. Right. Vicki was one of them that went, and they came back and we debriefed last week. They had a wonderful learning experience. And maybe Vicki, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, it was great meeting people from other OLLIs and other lifelong learning institutions. We did a lot of networking, and they really encouraged it. And it was awesome to see how other OLLIs run, how they do it. They had breakout sessions where they had speakers from different organizations and from different OLLIs talking about their best practices. So one of them was AARP talking about how to attract volunteers, and it was awesome. There was a lot of talk about collaboration in this particular one, and I'm sure everyone is different. So this year was in Atlanta, and next year is going to be in Athens. But the collaboration between like there were examples of collaboration between OLLI and a senior center, where they actually call people from the senior center to come to their classes instead of canceling them. Collaboration between the volunteers and the students, and it was just like from every angle you can think of. They had a lot of talk about collaboration. It was really an awesome training, and really, since this is my first year on the council, that it was great to see how other places work, and what we can implement here to make our OLLI even better.
And I would say one year, Frank Alarcon, who was one of the past presidents, and Carol Bewley went, and they picked up the idea of starting a men's club. So that is how the men's club got started. And they came back and said, can we do that? It's like, great, And Stephanie also went. Stephanie, do you want to add anything to that? And by the way, any members who want to go, we help support your travel expenses and so forth. So in a year, we put that out there. If you'd like to go, let us know. Stephanie?
Yeah, I think my biggest takeaway was some of the best practices of taking advantage of what you already have. So the university setting, the instructors, even the students. And I've really enjoyed the intergenerational learning that a lot of the universities approach. I think it was Arizona State did a session on that. And I got a lot of great ideas on how we can, I think that's also what sets us apart from the senior center is, age is not particularly an issue. It's just learning beyond. So I think how we can capitalize on that more and get a more diverse and larger, student body would be great.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yes. Very good questions. Anybody have any questions about parking?
There is a question in the comments about who started OLLI in 91, but they might have already.
Oh, she already asked.
Yeah, that got answered. Just making sure.
One big area that we haven't talked about at all is OLLI travel. You want to say something about that?
Yeah, OLLI travel's been big and growing all the time, and in fact, it was talked about at the NRC conference, and I don't know if it was talked about in the Southern Regional Conference, but when they talk about growing membership and reaching out to the younger generations that are now, looking at retirement, or maybe not, partly in retirement, or they're just, they'd like to continue learning. There's a difference in what they want. And travel was a really big thing on the list. They want to travel with a group. And one thing I'd say about travel, as we grow and we do that, one of the biggest takeaways is when you're traveling with the group, like with OLLI, you come back and you still know those same people.
Mm-hmm.
When you travel with another group, you could pick one, there's so many, and you meet wonderful people, you go to wonderful places, but when you come back, you try, because it's happened to me too, you try to keep up those newly formed friendships, relationships, but it's difficult. We live in a fast-paced world, and we're all so busy, right? So I hear that comment a lot. So right now, next Sunday, actually, OLLI, I'll be going with a group to Scandinavia. Some of us just came back from Morocco, and we had a really amazing experience, just out of this world. Rode camels, camped in the desert. I mean, where would you do that? But Scandinavia is coming up, and then in December, and I'm trying to, with George and Harriet, who are the travel chairs, try to figure out what to do and listening to people. And we're trying to get domestic in there as well. So in December, this is really domestic, but we're not flying over the pond. We have the Christmas markets of Montreal and Quebec for a week. And then next May, April 30 and into May, is Hawaii, which is not in the continent per se, right? I mean, it's offshore, right? By 1,000 miles or something, but we're going to Hawaii. And then we're doing, in next August, we'll be going to Tanzania and Kenya for a safari, which is a small group experience. And then the following year, we're doing Utah, which I wanted to do this next year, but we couldn't get it early enough. And, if you're out there in the West these days in the summer, you're going to bake, right? So we're getting this very early May, April, end of April, early May, and it'll be part of the Rocky Mountain train experience, and into the, some of the national parks, right? And then after that, it'll be over to Europe. It'll be the lakes and trains of the Alpine. So Switzerland, part of Italy. So that's what's planned so far. And then also next year, talk about domestic. We'll be doing, the country. Not only are we celebrating 35 years, a country celebrating 250. And there is a celebration so part of the whole USA celebration of our anniversary. There is a trip next December, which will encompass that. It'll be going to Boston, and the sites around there, going to the Boston Symphony and so forth. So that'll be a really lovely trip as well. So if you have suggestions, we would love to hear them. And even as far as classes, by the way, Vicki and I talked about this a while ago. If you have questions for types of classes or even instructors that you'd like to see, or lectures, please send them to Vicki, to Harriet, and so forth. But we love your suggestions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're coming right up on 2:00. It's been an hour, so are there any last questions that we can answer? Okay, thank you everyone for coming. I think this was a great lecture, very informative.
I just wanted to thank Deborah very, very much.
Yes,
for coming
absolutely.
online Believe it or not, there should be way more people on here because I have had so many of those questions that you were able to just rattle off those answers. And so thank you for that. That's very, very helpful. And thank you,
Thanks.
Vicki, for being a great host.
Yeah, thank you, Deborah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
Vicki.
you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And thank you all for being here. I love questions and love your comments, love your feedback. So if after this lecture is over and you find out you have another question, just shoot it off to me or Vicki, and we'll make sure that you get a good answer. Okay? Sound good? Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
See you soon.
Hey.
Okay.
Bye-bye.